Yo, yo, yo. Chat. What's up? What's going on, guys? Happy Monday. I hope it's a happy Monday. Let's do what we do. Yeah, what's up, Farrah? What's up, Wick? What you guys doing? What it do, fam? What it do? See, I'm cool. I'm hip. What you guys doing? Oh, man. Did you guys have a good weekend? Oh, dudes. Much needed haircut later today? Bro, I should probably get one of those too, but I'm not doing it. Look at my hair. I can't contain it anymore. I wake up in the morning and it's just like, the only thing I can think of is like every time I wake up and I look in the mirror right now is like Edward Scissorhands. You know what? Have you ever seen the movie Edward Scissorhands? Dude, his hair is just always like all over the place. You know? That's what my hair looks like when I wake up in the morning right now. It's just like, it's a hot minute. Here, I'll show you. Dude, this is what Edward Scissorhands' hair looks like all the time. Check it out. This is what his hair looks like all the time, dude. That's what I look like every day when I wake up. Yeah, that was Johnny Depp. That was Johnny Depp, Winona Ryder. There's a lot of people in this movie way back in the day. This is literally what my hair looks like every single day when I wake up. I think that's what they did with Johnny Depp. They were like, yo, grow your hair out to this certain length. Don't fix your hair when you wake up in the morning. Just come straight into the set. You know what I mean? They're like, you know, we'll like toss it around a little bit and stuff, but that's basically some sort of Gollum. Yeah, basically, dude. Yeah, basically, yeah. It's a pretty solid flick, dude. It's a cult classic type of movie. I mean, I watched it again not too long ago with my kids. It's a Tim Burton movie, you know. So if you're into that kind of stuff, it's dark. It's like it's one of those dark kind of hit you in the feels fantasy kind of shows. You know, Tim Burton's good at that kind of stuff. He always has been. Fifth Element? Heck yeah, dude. Corbin Dallas, baby. Corbin Dallas. Yeah. Dude, that strap outfit though, am I right? You know what I'm saying? That strap outfit, dude. You know what's funny? I'll tell you what's funny about you bringing that up. So, you know, I was wanting to do something special for Halloween last year, and you know, I did the whole like transition out of being dressed up as Michael Myers into being Princess Leia. I quickly looked into potentially wearing that white strap outfit. But I couldn't find one at a good price point, dude. So I was Princess Leia instead. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I love The Fifth Element, dude. What a great movie. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great one, dude, no doubt. It's good to see you guys. Happy Monday. Great way to start it, man. Got me laughing already. Thank you. Good to see you guys. So we will do the news, obviously, man. We'll see what's going on. Probably more layoffs, unfortunately, but yeah, we'll see what's up in the world of video gaming for today, January 23rd, and then we'll hop into day 7 of the forest with our buddy Pinky. My name is Pinky. Our mod here, amazing individual. We play games together a lot here on stream, and he's a lot of fun to game with. So we'll keep pushing. We got a cool little base set up. We're having some fun, and I think we'll probably be finished with Forest by like, I don't know, midweek, something like that. And don't forget. Tell me about it, Ferret. What's up? Don't forget that this Wednesday is the Xbox Bethesda showcase happening at 2 o'clock p.m. CST. That's 2 o'clock p.m., 1400 hours, our time here for this channel. So we are going to watch it together. So come hang out. let's see what Xbox and Bethesda has to give us. We've already heard that Starfield won't be there. We'll probably get some Redfall. We'll see what else they're bringing to the table. We're probably going to get an announcement about the Friends and Family plan for Xbox Game Pass. There will be a good amount of stuff, I'm sure, but they're going to do a solo Starfield showcase at some point in the near future from what we're gathering. But come hang out and let's watch it together, okay? On that note, Wick already beat me to it. Let's do what we do. Let's hop in here and see what's going on in the world of gaming. Cool. Let's go. Before we hop in there, though, take a look at this. This is what we're listening to this morning. Listening to some Crypt of the Necro Dancer. Very cool rhythm-based adventure RPG. If you're into rhythm-based games, this is something you should definitely go check out. It's got a amazing, extensive soundtrack as well. A lot of different versions of all these songs, too. Lots of, like, chopped up versions of these songs, remixes, things like that. You get a ton of music when you buy this soundtrack. It's pretty crazy. I mean, just take a look at this. You buy the soundtrack for Crypt of the Necrodancer, you get all of these. Shipped Necrodancer, amplified, another amplified version, overclocked, synthwave amplified cuts, the melody mixes, synthwave cuts, and freestyle retro stuff, and just the regular soundtrack. It's a lot of music, man, and it's very, very good stuff in my opinion for if you're into video gaming music. So check it out. Cool. It's good stuff. We'll go ahead and kill it. Let's get into the news. What you got, Ferret? Playing Gambit in Destiny 2, did my first ever team wipe on the opposing team and earned a malfeasance. Oh, you got a video? Yo, you should throw it in our Discord, dog. Throw it in our Discord. I'd love to see it, dude. Yeah. Yo, congratulations. GG's, dude. That's great. Very nice. Very nice. Posted. Sick, dude. Yeah, I'll take a look at it, man. Thanks. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, we hit on this yesterday. Let's just jump in here. Wick. What a troll, dude. Oh, dude. Yeah, World of Warcraft among top games going offline in China. Millions of players to say goodbye. If you're not if you're not familiar with the situation here, if you're not up to date with what's going on over in China with Blizzard games, basically they had been in collaboration for any kind of game dev to get their games published in China. It's not an easy task. It never has been. You kind of need to be in good with a Chinese-based publisher quite often. And that's what Blizzard has been doing for, a very long time now. With NetEase, they had a contract for the longest time with NetEase over in China. And NetEase, that's one of the things that made NetEase into the company they are today. NetEase was publishing all of, Blizzard's games over in China. Take, if you will, if you're from the western part of the world, think along the same lines of something like Lost Ark, a game that was very popular in the eastern hemisphere of the world. We're talking like Asia and that part of the world, right? But it never did make its way over here until Amazon got involved. And Amazon helped publish the game across most of the rest of the world, the western part of the hemisphere, Europe and the Americas and stuff like that, right? So kind of the same thing, but opposite, right? So a lot of very popular games come from Blizzard, but people in China couldn't play them because it's hard to get games published from the western part of the world in China. So they had worked with NetEase for a very long time, but that deal broke down, or the contract was expiring. They weren't able to come to another agreement. And basically, Blizzard kind of slapped NetEase in the face and was like, yo, why don't we just do like a 6-month extension while, you allow us to find a different publisher, that can publish our games over here instead of you guys. Because NetEase has been doing this for a long time for Blizzard. Apparently, Blizzard presented a contract that NetEase wasn't good with, and NetEase said, we're not gonna, this is not a contract that we are satisfied with. So if you want us to continue publishing your games, you're gonna have to give us something better. Blizzard said no, basically. And so NetEase said, okay, cool, we're done. And what this has done is left basically everybody that plays games over in China on the Blizzard front, Blizzard games in China, going like this. And about the only way around it is to use a VPN, right? We all know, most of us know anyways, that what a VPN will allow you to do is take your internet connection, connect to a server in a different part of the world. So it makes it look like you're actually maybe, for these people in China, they can connect to a server, say in some part of Europe, like France or something, right? They can connect to a server there first before it hits other servers. So it'll make them look like they're actually playing out of France or something like that. But it increases your latency quite often to a great extent. So people that want to play Blizzard games that are playing them on a competitive level, and there's a lot in China that play games like StarCraft, right? There's even a good amount of competitive play in World of Warcraft and the PvP side of things. So when you take that into consideration, the incorporation of a VPN just to kind of get around this obstacle of games not being published by Blizzard in China anymore isn't a great solution, because it's still going to present another obstacle in the fact that people that are very competitive in China in these games are going to be at a huge disadvantage because of the latency that it's going to naturally incorporate with using a VPN on that front. So it's not a good situation. Blizzard is, I don't know, apparently still trying to find somebody to publish their games over there, but it's not looking very good right now. So that's your TLDR. We've read about it. We know what's going on. And if you need more information, let me know. But that should basically catch everybody up on that might have missed out on exactly what's happening over there in China with the publishing of Blizzard games currently and for the foreseeable future anyways. Steam Deck is reaching its limits in games like Plague Tale. Yeah. This brings up a good point, though. Let's read about this. This brings up a good point, and you're talking about a very modern piece of mobile gaming hardware, right? This is about as good as it gets on a mobile platform for gaming that is specifically created at gaming, too. So when you talk about mobile gaming, and we talk about this quite often here of recent about something like the Switch that is the same thing. It's a mobile gaming, it's a handheld gaming device at its core, right? It's not a traditional console. It kind of plays a dual role in that fashion, but there's no denying the fact it doesn't incorporate hardware the same way a traditional console does. So if the Steam Deck is reaching its limit in a game like Plague Tale, and this is hardware that was, this is probably hardware, and the Steam Deck is hardware from what, probably 2020, end of 2020, early 2021, and we're talking like 2-year-old hardware, probably 2.5-year-old hardware. And then you think about something like the Switch, right? So Nintendo Switch is a handheld that has hardware that's over 7 years old in it now. That is where you're really starting to see the age in something like the Switch. And we talk about it a lot. It is a significant hurdle for developers on that platform, and you're starting to see the age in something like the Switch too. Steam Deck was released, yes, but I'm talking about specifically the hardware inside of it. So there's a difference, right? Just like with the thanks, buddy, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a difference. So that's something to really take into consideration when we're talking about, especially these handheld gaming devices, um, because the technology in these is quite a bit different, right, than like a traditional console. And when people, the reason I like to bring that up is because people talk about the Switch a lot, and they're like, well, the Switch is only just now over 6 years old. Yes, it is. But the hardware in the Switch is over 7.5 years old at this point. You know what I mean? So that's where I feel like it's a very important to bring up the difference between, yes, the console itself may only be this old, but the hardware inside of it is actually this old, right? Which is important in the tech industry because, the evolution of our technology is so, it happens so fast, so quickly. Uh, uh, I think it's just, I don't even know if it's as much that as it's kind of inevitable that, you're not going to be able to create a console of any sort and be putting, the hardware necessarily in it that comes out the very same day. You've kind of got to build a console around hardware that is kind of, you want it to be as recent as possible, but it's just not always going to be the hardware that is coming out the same day that you're releasing that console. You know what I mean? It's just kind of impossible. It's kind of impossible to do that because the entire development process doesn't work that way, right? It's like you're developing a console around the technology you have at the time. So the development process is lengthy, and the release date isn't going to coincide with you being able to put the latest and greatest in because of what the development process incorporates as far as the timeline goes. You know what I mean? So it's just that's the way it goes with all consoles, really. It shows more, I think, in a handheld and mobile technology because it's inherently not as powerful of tech as something like you'll see in a traditional console, right? You take a traditional console or even like a PC, even for instance, look at a desktop PC versus a laptop or something, right? A laptop, they try to build laptop, unless you're actually going out and spending a significant amount of money around a very, very high-powered laptop. Quite often you're getting mobile technology put into a laptop that is more about not as much power consumption. It's about performance spread across the lowest power consumption that you can get. It's about that balance, right? Whereas something like a traditional console or a desktop PC, dude, you're trying to put the chonkiest crap in there you can that can pull as much power as it can to give you as much performance as you can, right? So that's really the difference in like what you see across a traditional console or like a desktop PC versus mobile consoles and mobile devices, right? So it just shows faster. It's more apparent that the technology that's put into these mobile devices is inherently, it ages quicker. You know what I mean? It just shows faster because of that fact. But they all work that same way. They're being developed on what is available at the time during that development timeline. But by the time it releases, there's always going to be new stuff out. It's just the way technology works. A Wonderful Life release date, gameplay trailer, and story. Let's take a look at that. New Lord of the Rings game announced. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, and I mean, I think the thing is, like, a lot of times developers, too, I mean, one of the things to take into consideration, Farrett, is, and anybody else that's, like, interested in this topic, a lot of times major developers are kind of in collaboration, right, with hardware manufacturers also. So they might have access to some hardware that might not be publicly available yet, but they're talking to people like, you know, ARM or AMD or NVIDIA or Intel or whoever and going, hey, we're in the process of maybe producing a prototype or something, and we are interested in what new technology you have coming down the line that might fit this project that we are working on, and what do you have coming out in the future that might hit the timeline for us to incorporate, so there are things like that happen, but it's still kind of naturally something that doesn't, they're not putting the absolute newest hardware into consoles and things like that right whenever they are released. See what this Lord of the Rings game is about. When is Gollum going to release, by the way? Because when you think about it, there'll also be like, they're in collaboration with those kinds of hardware developers. A lot of times they use the same kind of die, the same chipsets, things like that. They'll just come out with more powerful kinds of technology within those dies and chipsets. So it's not always a real tough thing for them to incorporate working an upgraded version of that die chip whatever into their hardware moving forward. It's things like that. I don't know. It's actually a really interesting thing to talk about here. I'm talking about PC gaming versus mobile gaming in 2023. Um, well, I mean, we're not actually all that far. I mean, what's the PS5's GPU? Isn't it like a I mean, they've got pretty solid graphics in them now. No, I mean it's not like a 3080 or anything, but like what are we talking different? Oh, level 2 cache. That's 2.23 gigahertz. Yeah, okay. 16 gigs of GDDR6. I mean, that's pretty solid, dude. Um, check this out. Um, I mean, a 3080 is 12 gigs of GDDR6, right? We're talking 4 gigs less than what's in a PS5, you know? Um, let's see this. No, give me the stats, man. Give me the stats. All of them. Give me all the stats. God dang it. NVIDIA specs. CUDA cores, what? Probably not going to show us cores, is it? Clock here is 1.71 gigahertz. Well, yeah, and that's something I was going to bring up too. I mean, and that's something that I talk about all the time with the difference between, you know, it's absolutely harder to optimize games for PC. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? Um, it's so much harder to optimize games for PC than it is for any console. Um, let me see. Can we just get a comparison? Let's take a quick peek at this. Reject all. Get off me. Here you go. Here's a nice little comparison site. This will do it for us. Uh, there you go. So you're talking about the 3080, right? Is on this side. Then you got Xbox Series X in the middle, and then PS5 on the right. Okay. So we're talking PS5's leading in GPU clock with Xbox, and then the 3080 memory. A 3080's at, I thought it was 12 gigs of GDDR6. But Xbox is at 10, PS5 is at 16. Memory bus 320 for both the 3080 and the Xbox, and then 256 for PS5. Bandwidth way higher for the 3080. Xbox in second place, and then PS5 last. TDP though, TDP, the amount of power you can pull in, right? So then look at your shading units too. Big difference on shading units. Xbox is even throttling the PS5's shading units. Compute units. RTX and Xbox are killing PS5. ROPs are above on both of those. TMUs above on both of those. So, no. Teraflops. There's your teraflops, right? Yeah, the RAM will change depending on the version you buy, but I thought the more norm for the 3080 was a 12 gig. This might be an old. When did this article come out? March 29th, 2021. Yeah, I think the norm for the 3080 nowadays is actually a 12 gig platform, but I could be wrong. But I did think it was normally a 12 gig platform. But I mean, you look at the teraflops here. The 3080 is blowing the other ones out of the water. You know what I mean? Um, so, but ultimately, dude, I mean, when you think about it, you're getting $700 retail, yeah, for a GPU alone. This is a single component needed in a. Don't you? Hey, man. Don't you be coming at me with promise you can't keep. You hear me? You hear me? And the difference being, like, you're getting an entire gaming system with, aside from like a monitor. You know what I mean? For $500 with both of these. So in comparing, ultimately, I mean, these are not bad graphic systems, dude, at all. You know what I mean? And honestly, these are probably a lot closer to something along the lines of like a 30. Does it? 10 gigs dedicated, 16 gigs shared. Gotcha. Yo, word ferret, cool. These are probably closer stat wise. Up here it's not. It's a lot closer. But once you get down in here into more of this kind of stuff, especially the TDP, this is where you're going to get a lot of difference. The TDP, the amount of power that a dedicated graphics card is able to pull in over something that's in a traditional console right now, is really going to start making a GPU pull away in a lot of these other stat lines, right? But you get down into like the 3060 range, it's probably going to be a lot closer. 3060 is still going to outdo these, I think, by a margin. But you're still talking about a card that is not too much cheaper than what this console is alone. So there's something to be said for that, right? And they're not that far off, man. Really, the current gen consoles, the new gen consoles, are not that far off graphically. They're not on par, like close to being on par with the 3080 or anything, but they do very well. And the fact that you're paying just $500 straight up for that kind of graphical fidelity in games, as well as it's an entire system, there's something to be said for that. That's one of those things we talk about pros and cons with like PC gaming and console gaming all the time, right? And that's one of those things. And look, I'm a PC gamer, right? But I respect the fact that, not everybody is. There are a lot of people that gravitate more towards console. And it's hard to ignore the fact that you're getting an entire system here that is a solid gaming platforms for $500. $500 a pop. Whereas if you want to go build a PC and you're going to throw a 3080 in it, or a 3070 even. I've got a 3070. And you build it with substantial parts built for the future, you're going to get a lot of longevity out of it. It's going to last a while. You're not going to have to be worrying about a new console coming out every 4 to 5 years, and throwing another $500 at the next one, $500 at the next one, or even more, or what have you. You know what I mean? So there are pros and cons to it all, right? But that's a very good point to bring up, Ferret, no doubt. I've never actually looked at the comparison between what the GPUs are in the Xbox or the graphic systems, the chips in the PS5 and the Xbox versus like a last gen NVIDIA card or anything, Pretty interesting. Interesting stuff. If you guys want to take a closer look at that here, I'll throw it in chat. Yeah, for sure, dude. I agree. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think that if we had more time in the news, we'd probably just like take a look at how close those were to actually like a 3060. I think we'd be surprised actually to how much closer those are going to be to something like a 3060. See what else we got. Here we go. All right, dude. All right, mates. New studio to reportedly lead the development on future Call of Duty games on Nintendo consoles. Now, if you don't know why I'm laughing, if you don't know why this is hilarious, is because right now, this is all kind of handshake stuff, okay? Ultimately, Nintendo doesn't have a binding contract yet to have Call of Duty on their platform, okay? What has happened here is, in this entire debacle of, Microsoft agreeing to purchase Activision Blizzard, the big quote-unquote unique title that they're getting with that acquisition, if it comes to fruition, will be Call of Duty. There's no doubt about it. Call of Duty is a very lucrative game. It is a infamous title that the world round plays, and there are a ton of people on this game all the time, and it's very, very lucrative. So this is the main title that has caused controversy, especially with PlayStation leading the way, going, this is going to create too much anti-competitiveness with Microsoft specifically, Xbox specifically, getting Call of Duty in this acquisition. So, in response, Microsoft tried to go to Sony, offer them a 10-year extension on the 3-year deal they already have for Call of Duty to be on their console, to be on PlayStation consoles, which would basically put them at like 12 to 13 more years of it being on their consoles, right? And PlayStation said, no. Because basically they want this to look as anti-competitive as possible. They're never going to accept anything unless Xbox goes, here's a lifetime agreement where you have to pay us nothing. It will always be on your platform, and you'll pay us nothing. You'll reap all the benefits. That's the only way that Sony be like, okay. because they want it to look anti-competitive, right? But whenever Sony shot Microsoft down with that 10-year extension for Call of Duty, Microsoft immediately went to Nintendo. Xbox immediately went to Nintendo and went, hey, what would you think about this 10-year deal of Call of Duty being on your console if/when we finally acquire Activision Blizzard? And Nintendo was like, we'll take it. And so it was actually a really, really smart play on the part of Microsoft to do that, because it made Sony look bad. it really drove home. Yeah, sold. Yeah, it made, which is funny because that's the other big Japanese video game player, right? Nintendo. So Nintendo bought in. They're like, yeah, dude, we'll do it. Let's rub some elbows, baby. You know what I mean? so on as soon as that, yeah, exactly fair. That's exactly what happened. So it was a really smart play on the part of Microsoft. We'll take it. We are best friends now. Did we just become best friends? So it was really funny when it happened initially, and for people that this was a while back, but whenever it happened, I was just dying. I was like, this was such a smart play on the part of Microsoft to do this. And Nintendo just bought in right away, dude. They were like, yeah, we're in. Let's go. We've been waiting, baby. And so it made PlayStation look terrible in the way that they just kept shooting it down, and so we'll see what's going on with this. But if you didn't know, that's the situation here with Call of Duty on Switch. We'll read about it, but this is not an absolute definitive thing that will happen yet, okay? This is a handshake agreement between Nintendo and Microsoft right now, in this happening in the future if Microsoft is able to acquire Activision Blizzard and own Call of Duty, okay? But we'll read about it. Xbox reportedly getting another fan favorite JRPG. For the love of God, let me buy some 3DS games. Yo, I'm going to read this. Nintendo sucks about this kind of stuff. Didn't they already shut down like the digital storefront for all the 3DS stuff? A lot of the older handheld stuff for Nintendo has already been like shut down, right? So you can't get digital games anymore. And there are a lot of people out there that are still rocking like 3DSs, 2DSs, or like all that. Yeah, they killed the 3DS store. Yeah, that's what I thought. Last year, wasn't it? Was it last year? Or was it the end of 2021? It's been a little while now. But dude, people are upset, and they should be, because not only does this suck for people, because there's still a lot of those consoles out there. People love those consoles. And not only can they not get content anymore on those storefronts, so they can't buy those digital games anymore. But dude, Nintendo sucks at getting people access to older content. Oh, it says it'll go offline on March 27th. Dude, I thought it was already kind of like, I think they might have already started taking a lot of stuff off of it or something, though. We'll read about it. We'll find out for sure. Yeah, I thought it was already dead, too. I might have read something that made me think that, but I think they've already really started stripping that site down, though, at least. We'll read about it. We'll find out. But Nintendo sucks, dude, at giving people, they'll just, like, strip access, and then they won't find ways to give people access to, like, old historical games anymore. And then they also don't want people using emulators or anything like that either, to preserve gaming history. It's like, Nintendo is terrible about stuff like that. We'll read about this, though. We read about 343 yesterday. TLDR, okay? If you want a deep dive, look at yesterday's news segment. 343 is a subsidiary, a gaming studio under Microsoft, okay? They are being hit with mass layoffs because Microsoft is laying off 5% of their workforce, roughly 11,000 people. So they're being hit by layoffs. They're also being told that they are no longer going to head up Halo development. Yeah. Um, so they're no longer being told they're going to be heading up Halo development, but that they'll be put into more of a like parental role in overseeing development of Halo stuff moving forward. It sounds more like Microsoft like didn't want to make them feel bad. They're like, look, we'll let you still be a part of it, okay? You can like sit at the table and look at the things that are being like brought to us in the development, and you can like say ooh and ah. We'll let you feel like you're a part of this. But ultimately, it sounds like they're going to be giving yeah, fair. Sounds like they're going to be handing off the development of Halo for the foreseeable future to other parts of development studios or a different development studio under Xbox and Microsoft moving forward. But 343 also came out and they're like, we're still going to be a part of this and rah, rah, rah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I really don't think 343 is going to be a part of it moving forward because, look, man, they're under Microsoft. They're going to do what they're told. Okay. And so we hit on that. That's your TLDR. If you need more of a look at an actual article, just look at yesterday's news segment. It's a highlight here on the Twitch channel, or you can find it on our YouTube channel as well. Oh no, dude. The Overwatch 2 Abuse Simulator remains most popular custom game. Oh no, dude. It's back. We read about that previously, man. That is some terrible stuff. Switch is getting an underrated action game. We read about the Riot cyber attack. They got hacked. They got you know, compromised. So we went over that yesterday as well. And it's potentially going to affect the rollout of some of their more upcoming updates to a lot of their titles and everything. They're doing their best to try to roll out that stuff with hot fixes and things like that. But it's definitely affecting their timeline for updates on games and stuff right now. So if you didn't know, that's kind of the situation. That's about what you need to know. We'll keep track of it if we get any kind of good information regarding when these updates are now going to happen, things like that, and we'll hit on those. But specifically, just the fact that they got attacked, they got compromised, they got hacked, and it is affecting them moving forward a little bit. But it didn't release. Apparently, this was like last week that this happened. It's coming to the forefront of the news now, and Riot has come out as being quoted in saying that it didn't. Whoever the malicious actor was not able to obtain any kind of client, gamer, personal information or account information, anything like that. So as far as that is concerned, people shouldn't have any need to worry, but it is going to apparently affect Riot's ability to push updates for the near future. Okay, so just I guess glass is half full on at least accounts weren't affected, hopefully, but be careful right now just in case, and we'll keep track moving forward. AI generates stunning gaming PC case designs. Is it going to create them for me too? like, like, look cool, dude. Yeah, they look dope. Can you just go ahead and uh, get that put into production for me as well? You know, Yo AI, since you came up with this really cool prototype idea image of a custom PC case, go ahead and throw that into my 3D printer and get that hooked up for me too. Okay. I don't know. We're probably not that far from things like that happening, but what are you supposed to do with that? Unless it actually has some kind of capability of doing that for you. Like, I don't know. Let's pivot here. Let's pivot, Wick. Let's pivot, dude. Oh, my nose is a little jacked today. Lots of layoffs in the video gaming industry and the tech world, tech industry as a whole, man. It's pretty terrible. Hogwarts Legacy discussion completely banned by major forum. Nice. I've only got like 7 more weeks until I can get a month of HBO Max and binge watch The Last of Us. PlayStation Spider-Man 2 release date gets encouraging something. Let's take a look at that. We've talked about that. Let's go one more page here and then we'll dive into the news, okay? Okay, let's just stick with this. These will be a good amount of articles for us, okay? So, new studio to reportedly lead the development of future Call of Duty games on Nintendo consoles. Uh, yeah, again, look, like I said before when we found this article in the first place, this all kind of hinges on the fact of Microsoft being able to fully acquire Activision Blizzard. There are a lot of obstacles in this right now. There are governmental agencies that are putting up some roadblocks in regards to this acquisition. But Microsoft has already come to an agreement on a 10-year deal with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to their platform. Again, in lieu of their acquisition of Activision Blizzard coming to fruition, right? So as long as that happens, then Call of Duty is bound to come to Nintendo in the near future after the acquisition completes, okay? According to various sources online, a new studio will reportedly be leading the development of Call of Duty games on Nintendo consoles. The news is based on a job listing by Activision on LinkedIn. These details came right after Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, announced that Microsoft would bring the iconic franchise to Nintendo platforms after the merger with Activision Blizzard. What is that? Dr.81, a YouTube content creator and a Nintendo enthusiast, recently discovered something intriguing on LinkedIn. In his most recent video, he shared his findings. The content creator claims that while browsing through LinkedIn, he found a job listing by Activision for a lead UX designer. However, the studio's name wasn't mentioned in the listing. It simply stated new studio. Since the listing appeared right after Microsoft announced the 10-year deal, it had him speculating on the possibility of a new studio leading the development of Call of Duty titles for Nintendo consoles. Call of Duty titles have been released on Nintendo in the past. Call of Duty is no stranger to the Nintendo systems. Previously, players saw the game being ported to consoles such as the Wii and the DS, with exclusive Call of Duty titles optimized for their hardware. These included popular games such as Modern Warfare, World at War, and Black Ops. The two gaming giants have worked together since 2008, starting with Call of Duty 3. However, Call of Duty Ghosts was the last time to appear on the platform. Since then, no new games from the franchise have been ported to Nintendo. Previously, studios such as InSpace developed the Call of Duty ports for Nintendo consoles. Modern Warfare in 2007, World at War, Black Ops, and more were created by them for the DS. Hence, Activision creating a new studio to lead the development of their games for Nintendo hardware won't be surprising. Moreover, the formation of an unnamed new studio by Activision right after Microsoft's announcement surely raises eyebrows. As of now, 5 employers are working in the studio. Hence, it is highly likely that the work has already begun on the Nintendo versions of the game. This is all there is to know about the developments at the moment, at the time of writing this article, and as per Dr. 81's findings, users only have a job listing to base their speculations on. Nothing has been officially confirmed yet, and fans of the series at the Nintendo platform eagerly await news from both gaming giants. Yeah. So here's the deal as well. Like, obviously, any of these games that we're going to be coming to the Switch are going to have to be downgraded to an extent. Now, there are already Call of Duty games that are on mobile, right? So hopefully the transition from mobile to the Switch won't be too bad. But we've seen other games that have had issues getting their games to work on the Switch that are already on mobile platforms. The first one that comes to mind is something like Genshin Impact, right? Genshin Impact was, for 3 years now, has been touting itself as coming to the Nintendo Switch platform. They have not been able to get that game to work on that platform. It's on PlayStation. It's on PC. It's on mobile devices. But they cannot get that game to work on the Switch. I honestly, at this point, I don't think there's much chance of Genshin Impact becoming a functioning game on the Switch on a Nintendo platform until a new Nintendo console comes out. But that doesn't mean that Call of Duty won't be able to have some ports of their already released games come to the current gen Switch. But I think it's a much better chance that as a new Nintendo console comes, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later because it's overdue at this point, we'll see a lot more of the modern Call of Duty games really start hitting a new Nintendo platform. But again, all of this hinges, right, on Microsoft being able to fully purchase Activision Blizzard. And there are obstacles there right now. So just hold tight, and we'll find out more about this as it comes along, okay? Xbox reportedly getting another fan favorite JRPG. A new report has claimed that Xbox fans across Xbox One, Series X, and S should soon be able to play a popular JRPG from yesteryear. This week has already been a pretty big one for Xbox fans when it comes to JRPGs, as titles like Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Monster Hunter Rise have all landed on the gaming platform for the first time. And while Microsoft has made clear in the past that it wants to keep bringing other Japanese games to Xbox hardware, looks like this pursuit will be continuing later in 2023. According to one Nick Baker, who has had a number of scoops related to Xbox in the past, dude, how do you say that? Is that eyes or is it wise? I don't know. And that's 8, right? Lacrimosa of Dana. Dana will be coming to Xbox at some point in the future. Baker, who shared... I'm familiar with that game. I've just never known how to pronounce it, so I apologize. Baker, who shared this information in the latest episode of the Xbox Era podcast, didn't have much to say about when the game will exactly be released on Xbox platforms, but he did say that it will also likely that the title could be launched directly onto Xbox Game Pass. If you're not familiar with Lacrimosa of Dana, well, that wouldn't be much of a shock. The game, which is published by NIS America, first launched on PlayStation Vita back in 2016. Since that time, it has been ported to PS4, PS5, Switch, and PC, which means that Xbox has remained the only major platform that the game has never appeared on. The Y series as a whole has never had much of a presence on Xbox, despite many fans claiming they'd like to see the franchise being accessible on this platform. Assuming that it does end up coming to the Xbox in the coming months, perhaps we could also see other entries in the series arrive soon after. They are all over Steam as well, man. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Yeah. Is that how it's... There's a ton of them, dude. I've seen these before. There's a ton of them. Yeah. So if you're interested, they're on Steam as well. If you're a PC gamer, like I said, and on PC, they're PS5, PS4, PS5, Switch, PC. They're all over those consoles, but apparently not on Xbox very much or at all. But coming soon. Yeah. So for the love of God, let me buy some 3DS games, Nintendo. The 3DS store is about to close. There we go. There we go, Ferret. So surely Nintendo would want us to buy things from it. In a couple of months, the 3DS and Wii U eShop will be closed forever. That means no more ability to pay to download games that are piratable, whether they be piratable 3DS titles piratable indie downloads or piratable virtual console titles. Some of these piratable games are only available through the eShop itself or pirating, making the loss of the online shop extremely frustrating unless you're good at pirating. Let me note something here, okay? Look, I'm not a big fan of pirating. I'm not a proponent of it. I don't think it's a great thing for the industry. I like to promote a healthy gaming industry. But this is what I'll say about the pirating side of things. I have spoken with a number of, whether it be community members or friends of mine, that have resorted to potential pirating-esque kind of things, mechanics, at some point. Syke, what's up, brother? Happy Monday, dude. How are you? And lurk kind of day, dude. I feel that. Yeah, dude. Monday fun day, dude. Monday fun day. Yeah, dude. It's good to see you, buddy. You lurk away, you legend. So unfortunately, what is happened is a lot of people have resorted to pirating as a result of feeling let down, feeling duped, feeling stolen from by developers. And I think the industry is changing to an extent, but there have been a lot of games that have released in the past by developers that have been less than stellar. I think that is about as nice of a way to put it as I can. But you talk about games like No Man's Sky, or you talk about a game like Cyberpunk, and these are some of the worst examples. But it happens all the time, where there's a lot of hype that gets built up around the game releases, and it's in a not great state when the game releases. People buy it up front, they pre-order or whatever, and we see stuff all the time nowadays where it's like, in the gaming industry, in the gaming communities, right? Communities of gamers are always warning each other nowadays about not pre-ordering anything anymore, because it sets you up for failure. Yeah, you're giving money to a developer that has not proven themselves with that game yet, and it's a bad play nowadays. That's the way it's looked at. And ultimately, it led for a long time, and I think it's still there's still a lot of people that have just gotten into the groove of resorting to pirating because they have felt like they've been taken advantage of. They have felt like their money has been stolen from them for a piece of crap game that ultimately didn't deliver what they were promised it would be. And I can feel that. I understand that. I've never resorted to that myself, but I understand that feeling. Yeah. And I can't necessarily blame anybody for resorting to a tactic like pirating because of that feeling. Yeah. So I think what we've seen in terms of developers trying to turn things around a bit for us and show us what a game will offer ahead of time are the resurgence of demos. So in the industry, demos have become popular again. You'll see demos all over the place. You go look on Steam for games that are coming out, demos everywhere. Demos went away for a long time. And I think it's a big part of developers trying to showcase to potential customers and gaming communities, gamers, what a game has to offer. Not that a demo is always going to be an exact, iteration or experience of what the main game, the full release, is going to have to offer, but it's at least something that will probably be fairly similar. And if you play the demo and you enjoy it enough, you're probably more likely to buy into it under the assumption, and it's a pretty good assumption, the game will be on par with what you experienced in that demo. So there are things that have happened to change the hopefully get people more along the lines of getting back into creating a healthy industry. Now, this goes both ways, though. I do think it's important for people to not just resort to piracy to just steal games all the time, but pricing in the industry is a significant obstacle for people too. And it's a very scummy thing that is happening nowadays. Whether you talk, and we talk about this in the channel all the time, whether you talk about games now being increased to $70 a pop, or you talk about, I'll give you an example. We're talking about here right now is the new game in development that we've already seen still shots of for the Suicide Squad game coming out. We've already seen still shots, still images of the game that have a battle pass incorporated. There's a storefront in there, and I'm willing to bet you that's not going to be a free-to-play game. Willing to bet you that's going to be a game they want you to pay full price for up front. Then they want you to pay for the battle pass in the game. Then they want you to pay for other things in the store like cosmetics and things like that. There's a big obstacle in the industry for people to fully enjoy an experience quite often by a lot of these developers due to the mass amount of monetization in corporations that are being put into these titles. And it feels terrible to us as gaming enthusiasts and anybody that is trying to break into the world of gaming and have fun in this world and experience it. It's not that we don't expect to ever spend money on games, but there's good and bad ways to go about from the way we perceive developers coming at us and what they expect us to spend money on. There's good and bad ways to go about it. And we see a lot of bad. So that's another reason why I see a lot of people probably resorting to pirating because it's just the monetization, the amount of greed that we see coming out of developers is significant, right? I'll keep reading here, the second paragraph. But the thing is, I don't want to pirate games. I definitely can. I've got the technology, folks. I'd be lying if I say that I didn't have a downloaded copy of just about every GameCube and Dreamcast game I've ever owned because Sega and Nintendo decided that using the discs for those consoles and other machines would be annoying. That said, I want to pay for games when I can because, I don't know, feels like I'm actually doing something for the game's developers when I do. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what's important, man. I think that people that are actually passionate about being gamers understand that sentiment, right? It's not about feeling bad about pirating. It's more about feeling good about trying to create a healthy industry for good developers, and trying to create a healthy environment for both developers and us as gamers. We want to create a great relationship here that goes both ways. The argument for another time. I know buying a game doesn't mean putting money directly in the pocket of a programmer and graphic designer, but I'm not 7 years old. But whenever you bring up pirating, you get a group of people who act like it's stealing money from God himself to pay the devil to fiddle for you all night, while the other group acts like pirating is some sort of moral stand against the machine, chipping away at the flesh-devouring force of capitalism by taking someone else's work. It's pirating. Bleep bloop. You got the game for free. Stop it. Yeah. I want to pay for 3DS and Wii U games while I can, not because it's right, but because it's my console. I want to download some games that were made to be bought on it. That should be enough. It shouldn't be that complicated. I should be able to give the console my credit card information, click buy now, and then buy it now. That's the way we all agreed to do it on these old consoles. It's the way we agreed to do it. Let me buy those games, man. But right now, getting a game on 3DS or Wii U feels like Nintendo is messing with you. You can't buy the games directly on a 3DS. Why would you? Why would Nintendo want you spending your credit card money in the final days of its store while its store is open? Yes, we're all familiar with businesses putting out a sign that says, going out of business, everything must go, and then making it a flippin' ordeal when those goods go. Right now, buying a game for 3DS involves going to Nintendo's website, searching for the game, and hoping it's listed somewhere you can actually find it. Yeah. Good luck. It'll be buried under even the least important of Switch DLC lists. Keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Found it? You might still not have. For some reason, using 2 computers and 4 different browsers, I've found that Nintendo website will let you buy 3DS games in theory, but is just as likely to start timing out, as if their computer system doesn't quite believe you want to buy every Ace Attorney game available for the system. Seriously. I'd be able to buy 1 or 2 games before the website starts popping me over to error pages. Switch browser, sign in, and I'd be able to buy a couple more. Same thing. At one point, the website said there was an error with my credit card company. I called the company. They said there was no error, nor record of an error. I tried again with a different card, told there was an error with the credit card company. I called the different company. There was no error with that company either. I don't write all of this to complain about some technical crap. I write this because make it easier to buy your games. That's it. If you're shuttering a store, at least make it easy for those of us psychopathic enough to want to buy every Harvest Moon game for the virtual console. I recognize that a lot of the transaction infrastructure took up resources and money, with a flow of cash into the 3DS and Wii U shop left to desperate idiots like myself. I'm sure it didn't make economic sense to make things infallible. Systems break down. But come on, folks, even outside of the damage this does to game preservation, you really think, and that's important, the damage this does to game preservation. And Nintendo does not care, baby. They never have, and I don't think they ever will. You really think future generations are going to be able to get their hands on Harmonite? It's just stupid economics. The closer the shop gets to closing, the more people like me are going to want to load up and hoard on 3DS and Wii U games we didn't know we wanted and honestly didn't actually even need. This is the last gasp of breath before the body dies. It shouldn't be this hard to buy old games for a system that isn't officially dead yet. Nobody here is asking for it for free, at least right here. A lot of people are pirating because clearly it's easier. But at least give those of us stupid enough and lucky enough to be able to pay full price for these games the opportunity to do so. I promise there's no chicanery going on here. We aren't doing mass chargebacks on a ROM of Mega Man 5 for the Game Boy. It's understandable that after over 10 years of service, Nintendo feels it's time to close the doors on their digital storefront. I think it's silly, but it's understandable. That store isn't closing until March. There's over a month to go, and that means over a month for fans to have one last shot at finding some tiny stupid gems, or giant stupid gems they want to drop a few extra dollars on. Gems for a system that has 2 generations of great games that can't be played on literally any other system except pirating. There's time left. Let us spend our money. Yeah, I mean, why not that doesn't make any sense to me. I agree with this individual. I mean, ultimately, everybody's going to have to resort to pirating anyways to get these games, right? Emulators, ROMs, pirating of these games. Thanks, brother. Because Nintendo sucks so terribly bad at giving people access to old titles, and anybody that wants to play old titles and preserve history of gaming is going to have to pirate. And, they're going to have to use emulators and things like that. But there are people out there that want to actually legitimately own these things. And I've always said, my kind of stance on emulation and ROMs and pirating and stuff like that is really current gen stuff. The current gen stuff, modern consoles and... One more. I apologize. The trying to maintain a healthy industry and all that stuff is really about, in my opinion, making sure we're spending money on the current gen stuff, the current gen consoles, current and even into the previous gen because of the way that life cycle works. But the stuff that you can't really obtain anymore, there's only one way to get it usually. There's only one way to get it. And, that's usually emulation, pirating, things like that. Because the industry is not very good to us in terms of giving us access to old titles. Even in the realm of backwards compatibility, I think the only real console player that's trying to do a pretty solid job at that really is Xbox. Nintendo's terrible at it. PlayStation's terrible at it. And for a lot of us, we've held on to a lot of old games and stuff, but we don't have a way to play them if you don't have an old console because the modern consoles they make, they don't try to incorporate those capabilities for us, So, I don't know. That's my take. This is a great article, by the way. Much enjoyed reading this and can agree with most, if not all, of the sentiments inside of here. Mike Drucker, very good stuff. Very good. It's there in chat if you guys want to take a look at it. Overwatch 2 Abuse Simulator remains the most popular custom game despite Blizzard intervention. The mode is that we've read about this before. I thought they were taking this down. The mode is the first option you'll see when selecting a custom game. Are you seeing this? Look at what they want you to do. Jump over the rings to acquire a name. Flash to knock down your victims. Jesus. Sexual Harassment Simulator is once again the most popular custom game in Overwatch 2. This is despite Blizzard previously facing criticism for failing to prevent these violently misogynistic lobbies from appearing in the game and promising to improve moderation filters to ensure this doesn't happen again. Now, not only is another lobby advertising itself as a sexual harassment simulator, it's also the first option you see when you go to the Custom Games tab. This implies it is currently among the most popular game modes, making it unclear how Blizzard hasn't removed it by the time of writing. God. This development came to our attention this afternoon when a Reddit user shared that the game mode was once again on the front page of Custom Games. Many in the replies say this has been a constant issue since the first Overwatch, with Blizzard's lack of action against the mode seeming to go back months. Sure enough, when we booted up Overwatch 2 to verify this, it was the first option to appear in Custom Games. We were able to join a game, although we left before any other players joined, only staying long enough to see the lobby rules. God. As you can see in the in-game screenshot, players are told to flashbang victims and teabag them to simulate sexual assault. Players seem to win by having the most children, making sexual assault competitive and encouraged. There's another issue here I want to talk about in regards to this article, but I'll get to it at the end, okay? The server initially sparked controversy in October, back when Overwatch 2 first launched. It was met with condemnation across the board, even receiving coverage in non-gaming news outlets, as parents were shocked to find this content in the game, especially when it was rated as being appropriate for children aged 12 and up in Europe and 13 and up in North America. At the time of this initial pushback, Blizzard said that such content had no place in Overwatch. We immediately removed the user-created game mode once made aware of its existence. This statement continues, we are continually working to improve automatic filters to prevent inappropriate user-created content and manually removing any that are not caught by the system. Dude, this is insane that this came back. We read about this initially, and I was really blown away at how inappropriate and disgusting, especially the fact that they were allowing it was rated for these age groups, you know, and now it's back. And, you know, people, I have a huge stance against Blizzard right now because I was once such a huge lover of that developer. And is everything easy to catch? No. You know, development is a continual process, and a lot of it's trying to get rid of toxic people that do things like this in your community. But, dude, this has already been an issue and it's back. How have you not done everything, to ensure that this would never happen again? Like, wow, man. Here's the other issue I want to bring up. Unfortunately, this teabag has become such a controversial thing. I know people always find ways around stuff. I get that, right? But what I'm getting at is this is a significant thing here, right? And it was a significant thing months ago. Yeah? So ultimately, a developer as big as Blizzard should have been doing everything on their front to remain vigilant. And not only, look, the writers of this were notified, able to get in there. It's not like it got put up and then Blizzard was like maintaining vigilance on making sure that this type of thing did not come back up. And if it did, taking it back down very quickly. They were able to get in here, get into games, get images, write the start. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? This is not the first time this has come up. So Blizzard obviously is not having a whole lot, maintaining a lot of oversight about this same type of custom game being brought back into their game, right? I understand that people find ways around stuff, right? I understand that. There are all kinds of. I talk about that concept all the time. There are always malicious people. There are always bad actors, and there are always people trying to. It's a constant battle. It's a constant war. Whether you're talking about just on the internet in general or between developers and communities, there are always people trying to circumvent rules, get around. But dude, this is something that has already been brought to the attention months ago. They removed it, and there was enough time for the gamer to be notified that it was back up, for them to be able to go in, get into a match, get screenshots and everything. Blizzard is not doing their due diligence, man. I'm sorry. They're not. Not when it's the same exact thing that was there before. That's a big, massive flipping developer, dude. It's not like this is a team of 5 people. You know what I mean? So I have a hard time seeing any kind of, like, the first time I was like, yeah, okay, that sucks. Then Blizzard came out with their statement like, it doesn't belong here. We're cool. Get rid of it. But they're not remaining vigilant, dude, to try and ensure that, like, I mean, because it's the same exact thing that got put right back up, and it wasn't taken down quickly. It doesn't appear to be. So I have a hard time giving the benefit of the doubt to Blizzard anymore about this kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to see that. Yeah, people are always going to find ways around stuff, but it's the developer's responsibility as well. Especially like whenever we're talking about iterations of these kinds of things happening. It's not like this is the first time. So the other thing I want to bring up is, like, I'm so tired, dude, of the this is just gonna exacerbate the issue already in the gaming communities and the gaming industry of teabag, the term teabag being seen as like a sexual reference thing. I hate that. In this, it absolutely is. It's being used in a sexual reference way. And unfortunately, it's going to drive home that notion to all these people that want to see it that way. Because look, teabagging people is something that's been done in games for flippin' ever. Since any kind, like, since live service competitive games came about, what had been deemed the term teabag people to troll them out. It didn't have anything ever to do with any kind of sexual act. It was just deemed teabagging because of what it looked like you would be doing to people. It never actually had any kind of, symbolism for trying to perform that kind of act on people. It just, somebody called it that, it stuck, but it was more about trolling people out because you got the better of them in a game. Does it probably need to be deemed something else at this point? Yeah, but will it? No, because it's just gone on for too long. Teabagging, most people say it and they don't even think about the fact of what it's actually referencing traditionally. You know what I mean? In the gaming world, you kill somebody in a competitive game, you go crouch over them to quote unquote teabag them and troll them out and say, I got the better of you. It's not about trying to perform some kind of like sexual act on people. But over the past few years, you've got these people that see just about anything they can as an issue. They want to make more out of something than it actually is. And then you get things like this that happen that incorporate this as an actual sexual act that just makes it even worse. So I guess apparently at this point, we have to go turn this term into something else, which is uh, I just crouched you. Like, I just kneeled on you, bro. Get wrecked. I don't know. It's it's a weird situation. It was never meant to be people don't normally use it as a term of in game referring to a sexual act. It's used as a I got the better of you. I'm trolling you out. Get wrecked kind of thing, and nobody normally thinks of it as a sexual connotation, even though that's where the word stems from. But I don't know. It's gonna have to change apparently. But Blizzard needs to do a better job. I don't care. This is not the first iteration of that happening. People are always trying to find ways to continue to breach rules. I get that. I get that. But uh, you know, and I would be more accepting of the fact if this was like something totally different. It's not. It's the same exact custom game. It's the same exact custom game. They got it back into the custom lobby, back as the first one that shows up. Blizzard's not maintaining awareness for this kind of stuff in their game. They're not doing a good job, dude. That's all it comes down to. Switch getting underrated action game prior to new sequel. An underrated action game that first launched back in 2019 is now slated to release on Nintendo Switch in the near future. In a general sense, the Switch is a platform that often sees new titles land on the platform months or years after they have previously come to Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And while Switch owners have become accustomed to this pattern, it still means that they have to wait longer than anticipated to play certain titles. Luckily, one game in particular will now be coming to Switch before the arrival of its sequel in the coming months. Announced by THQ Nordic this week, Remnant from the Ashes is now poised to release on the Switch at an undetermined date soon. Originally released for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, Remnant is a third-person shooter with Souls-like elements that has gone on to become a bit of a cult hit in recent years. Currently, Remnant from the Ashes boasts a very positive rating on Steam after nearly 37,000 user reviews, which shows just how popular it has become. They gave this, they gave this away not too long ago on Epic. A lot of you, if you've been heeding my advice and grabbing your free Epic Games, might have this in your library on Epic Games right now. See this? By the way, one of the reasons this is probably happening is because the new one's coming out this year. They're supposed to, anyways. I think the new Remnant game is supposed to be coming out this year. And this is a multiplayer game, by the way, too. Hold on. Let me see something. By the way, I'm putting this in chat right now, which is our schedule for the year. Is that on our list? I don't think I put that on our release date, TBA. So maybe it's not coming out this year. It might. Why was I thinking it was though? Hold on, let's look this up. Release coming soon. Um, did it even say Jeebus, dude? whatever. I think it is slated to release this year, so that might be one of the reasons they're also getting it on another platform. But um, as mentioned, Remnant from the Ashes went on to be quite a success, and developer Gunfire Games is now working on a sequel. The aptly titled Remnant 2 was announced last month, currently slated to release only on current gen platforms in 2023. Yeah. As such, this follow-up entry won't be coming to Switch, but at least Nintendo fans will be able to soon check out the original game in the franchise. Yeah. Okay. So, cool for all you Nintendo players. Remnant from the Ashes. That is like a four-player co-op game too. I think is what that is. It's supposed to be a very cool experience. I would love to give it a shot at some point. Anybody else has it on PC on Epic? I wonder if it's cross-platform. Oh, it's cross-play between Epic and Steam. Um, it looks like so that's something. I have it on Epic. I don't know. Maybe we should talk about it. We'll see. We'll see. Hogwarts Legacy discussion completely banned by major video game forum. Hogwarts Legacy has been dealt another blow on one of the major forums for video games and entertainment as the website's management has elected to ban any further discussions of the game less than 3 weeks before it is expected to release. Hogwarts Legacy, is the game that Harry Potter fans over the world have been waiting for, but it might be too late for a lot of would-be players. Oh, God, here we go. Author J.K. Rowling's repeated transphobia marred the reception of its reveal, and after that, its its lead designer left due to past anti-fem and pro-Gamergate posts that were discovered. While Avalanche Software has stated that Rowling is not involved in the creation of the game, the team did confer closely with her team, and some see a purchase of Hogwarts Legacy to be an unspoken affirmation of her opinions. The author herself has said as much. When one former fan asked her how she sleeps at night knowing she's lost an audience that used to cherish the world she built, she replied, I read my most recent royalty checks and find the pain goes away pretty quickly. Jesus. Brutal. Over on Reset Era, which is one of the biggest forums for video game and assorted other news, there was only one permitted thread for Hogwarts Legacy. While other games, movies, and TV shows were allowed to have multiple threads active after announcements and such like, the forum's moderation team didn't extend these liberties to the RPG, and now they've decided there is to be no further discussion of Hogwarts Legacy on the website. Quote, after continued internal discussion, we began to start outlining the issues put forth by Rowling and the game in question. And each time, as we discussed it all, we kept coming back to the simple fact that Rowling is not only a bigot, but is actively pushing in her position as a wealthy and famous individual for legislation that will hurt trans people. That she uses the influence and money gained from her success with Harry Potter to push transphobic legislation, explained the forum's general manager. As a reminder, we do not allow for advocating or meta commentary on content ban decisions, which are decided by the mod team. Any that we see, whether for or against, will be met with thread bans at a minimum. Hogwarts Legacy releases for PS5, PC, and Xbox Series consoles on 10 February, PS4, and Xbox One on 4 April, and Nintendo Switch on July 25th. Yeah, that's terrible, dude. I don't know. And just let people live their lives, man. I don't know. It's like, I just don't understand why there has to be so much hate for. I mean, it's not like so much hate and disdain for people that aren't like one another, you know? Just because you don't feel the same way and you haven't experienced the same thing other people experience or are going through in their lives and it's not part of who you are or whatever, people find it to be wrong. Obviously anything that I try to make sure that I express this in anything that has to do with, discrimination, bigotry, promoting violence, or any of those kinds of concepts is unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. It does not align with who I am. It does not align with who this, what our community here is. This community here is about being accepting, welcoming. It's a safe spot for everybody, as long as you're a good person. That's all that matters. If you're a good person at heart, and you just are striving for trying to create a better world for people all the way around, then you belong here. And I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care what your sexual preference is, what you identify as. It doesn't matter to me. And it's just sad that other people can't feel that same way, and that we can't just view one another with love, as long as you are a loving person. And there's just so much hate in the world. It's unfortunate, but this continues to plague. Unfortunately, because the creator has these views, J.K. Rowling has these views, and it's randomote time. Get your randomotes in there. It's really overshadowing what this game is potentially could be for people because of who the creator of this universe is. Man, feels bad. But anybody that's dealing with any kinds of issues in their life, whatever the case may be, we're here for you. So come hang out with us, okay? Get your emotes in there. PlayStation Spider-Man 2 release date gets an encouraging update. For gamers looking to get their web slinging fix on PlayStation 5, it looks as though 2023 will be the year. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac Games has been listed with a 2023 release window since its debut at PlayStation's September 2021 showcase. After the success of Marvel's Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, Insomniac is back and ready to serve fans a full-blown sequel going bigger than ever, even bringing in some Marvel Studios talent to complete the project. However, with the lack of updates on the title and only more than a year-old reveal trailer, fans have been getting nervous that Spider-Man 2 may be further out than what was initially promised. Nice, Ferret. Nice, dude. Fans worry maybe for not, as Spider-Man 2 got a promising release date from star Yuri Lowenthal. Speaking with Comic Book Movie, the Peter Parker voice actor revealed that he still has got a little bit to do on PlayStation's latest superpowered epic, but promised that he knows that Insomniac Games is confident about their release date. He hyped the game up as well, remarking that he's so excited for gamers to play it. This latest update from Lowenthal comes as PlayStation recently included Marvel Spider-Man 2 in its upcoming games in 2023 promotional material. In December, a PlayStation Store listing for the sequel was live for a brief period, suggesting new info was imminent. However, at the time of writing, nothing more has been shared on the title. When to expect? Probably late this year. Yeah, is kind of what we've been hearing. That's what we've been getting coming out. So, no official exact release date for the PS5 exclusive, just the nebulous next fall from Intihar and a few promising updates from people involved. Again, the other big title coming from Insomniac will be the standalone Wolverine game, right? But do not expect anything on the front from the Wolverine title until Spider-Man 2 releases, okay? This is their focus. They want to get Spider-Man 2 completed, released. They do a great job with these games, and I'm actually excited that Insomniac is working. They are the development team working on Wolverine, even though it'll probably be a PlayStation exclusive. I can't remember if they've announced that yet for Wolverine, but once Spider-Man 2 finishes, which I'm sure will be fantastic because they've done a great job on the previous Spider-Man games, we'll start getting some more news about Wolverine, okay? Steam Deck is reaching its limits in games like Plague Tale Requiem. Games are becoming too demanding for the Deck's little Van Gogh APU. Yeah. Oliver McKenzie at Digital Foundry published an article discussing the capabilities of Valve's Steam Deck in the latest AAA titles that were launched last year. In particular, he wanted to see whether or not the Steam Deck could deliver a solid 30 frames per second gaming experience in very graphically demanding titles such as the highly demanding A Plague Tale Requiem, Callisto Protocol, Gotham Knights, and more. Well, good thing you're not trying to play anything over 30 things with Gotham Knights. You know what I mean? Too soon? Because Gotham Knights won't play at over 30 frames, if you didn't know that. What year is this? Sorry. To refresh your memory, the Steam Deck is equipped with a Zen 2 quad-core CPU that boosts up to 3.5 GHz and an RDNA 2 iGPU equipped with 8 CUs and running up to 1.6 GHz. This APU is certainly not a strong chip by today's standards, but the Steam Deck's application has proved to be a surprisingly adequate gaming APU. Plague Tale Requiem showed impressive results on the Steam Deck. McKinsey was able to hit a solid 30 frames per second gaming experience with just a couple of minor dips in more demanding areas. This was accomplished with the resolution optimizer in performance mode and all visual settings set to low, with the exception of textures that were set to medium settings. Well, what I will say in regards to Gotham Knights was uh, through the development process, they announced a lot of surprising things to people. So it was like initially that was supposed to be a game that was going to come out on new gen and previous gen consoles, and then they backtracked on that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, now it's not going to release on previous gen." And then it was like right before release, they're like, "Oh hey, yeah, by the way, it'll also only be able to run at 30 frames." So look, I don't even care. Like in today's day and age, you're going to be doing current gen consoles, modern consoles, a 30 frame lock, dude, is wild. These are powerful pieces of gaming equipment. Is it a desktop PC? No. But uh locking a game at 30 frames, especially on a game like an action game like that, is going to look terrible to me. Um Not only that, I mean, it had its own issues too. It had its own issues on release. It didn't, I think, feel great to a lot of people. But there was, if I recall correctly, apparently there were specific issues with multiplayer and how bad it made the game look, especially getting multiplayer going in it. But look, man, here's what I'll say, Ferret. You go back. I've looked at side by sides, man. You go look at some side by sides because obviously this is a game that comes from the Arkham devs and the Arkham, you know, assets and engine and stuff like that. So if you go look at side by sides, it's weird how much better some of the Arkham Batman Arkham stuff looks than the Arkham Knight stuff looks. Right? It's kind of weird. And I am not a game developer. And I'm never going to assume that game development is an easy thing, right? I have the rest of the Arkham series too, dude. I have all of it. I haven't played it, but I have all of it. And this is a notable series for being very, very, very basically genre defining for the way combat has evolved and worked in the gaming industry moving forward. I have all of them, dude. Look at all the Batman games. I've got them all. I need to play them, dude. I haven't played any of them, but I'm very aware. And it's kind of crazy to me. Played them all? Yeah, I know they're very good. I know they're very good. At least that's the consensus, anyways. Not that minus the newest one. Okay, the consensus around all the Batman games, the Batman Arkham games, is that they're fantastic. Uh, it's always going to be a bit of it's a bit subjective there, right? And not everybody's going to feel the same way, but I need to play them, and I've seen side by sides, man. I've seen side by sides of these games, and these games are have got some age under them now, and I've seen side by side still frames of how these games look compared to like Gotham Knights on the same platform and stuff. And I would rather play Batman. Not only that, but like the frame locking thing at 30 frames is weird to me. That seems weird. I mean, dude, this is 2023. This is not like 10 years ago. To me, it seems like they reached too far. This is not a decade ago. These are powerful consoles. And it seems like the developer maybe reached a bit too far. And at the end of the development process was like, look, we're just going to push this out. We want to try to get this release date met. And if we wanted to get this running at 60 frames, it was going to take us a lot longer because we didn't do this right. That's the way it came off to me. I don't nowadays like playing anything under 60 frames. We've evolved too far in technology, it seems to me. Obviously, back in the day, 30 frames was acceptable. And we've gotten over the evolution of gaming. I mean, we've gone from low frame rates to like, 20 frames was like, whoa. And then 30 frames was like, oh my God. And then 60 frames was like, holy crap, it can't get any better. Right. And now, I mean, we're talking like 120 frames, 144 frames, up into the 200s and 300s. And I mean, the standard is 60 though, right? Yeah, exactly, Ferret. I agree. I mean, I think that at the very least, if they wanted to be like, look, this game is going to run much better at a 30 frames, but we are going to allow you to toggle and play with settings and stuff. That would have at least made me feel a little bit better about it. But dude, this is it released at the end of 2022, right? So we'll say 2022. It released at the end of 2022, and they had it locked at 30 frames. Dude, that is like a decade ago kind of stuff to me. Are there still games coming out that are at 30 frames? Yeah, but not AAA space games. and they locked it. They didn't even give you the option to kind of mess with your settings and try to figure things out and get it running at at least a solid 60 frames. And again, especially in action games, I would much rather bring the graphical fidelity down a bit and have a much smoother experience with the way I'm viewing the combat and everything, as opposed to seeing things at a 30 frame rate and each frame look amazing. That's who I am, though. And I don't think I'm the only one that feels that way. Not that everybody will feel that way, but it's I was kind of blown away when they announced this. I was like, oh, that's really not good to me. So I don't know what happened there, but it didn't feel good to me, man. Despite running on low settings, the graphics hold up well, being equivalent to an Xbox Series S. Yeah, I'm okay with 60 frames. I'm okay with 60 frames too, but again, I mean, I think that's when I usually play games at like about 120. But I'm fine with 60. I'm fine with 60 frames. But again, I think that 60 has been the standard in the industry for quite a while now. And I think that's just a part of the way we've evolved in the gaming industry, right? Again, it's happened over time where it was like we used to have really, really low frame rates. And then it's jumped up as we've progressed and technology has evolved. And there's a standard, right? And we've kind of hit that standard of, 60 frames is like pretty standard. We shouldn't be regressing back into a 30 frame lock. That's kind of weird to me. That seems really, really weird that Yeah, so that was me before I got a new monitor, and before I built my new PC too. I would run 144 hertz at high def. Once I built this PC, I started running 1440p at 144. Yeah, but I'm absolutely fine with going from 144 down to like a 60 frame rate. You know, whenever I need to, because quite often OBS doesn't like to push out, because I'm still my output to you guys, no matter what I play on, my output to you guys is always getting downgraded to a 60 frame rate 1080p, right? So sometimes OBS, depending on what I'm playing, doesn't enjoy me running those kinds of settings. It just depends on what the game is. And so sometimes I'll bring things back down to like 60 frames, and I'm fine with that. But again, I think it feels really weird that like there's a AAA game developer in a game that came out at the end of 2022 that has kind of regressed. And it's like, yo, we're gonna cap this thing at 30 frames when 60's been the standard for quite a while now. That's where I'm like, something went wrong. That just seems to indicate to me something. And again, look, I'm not trying to say that game development's easy or anything, but that was a weird play to me. That kind of just like was a bit of a red light, man. Despite running on low settings, the graphics hold up well, being equivalent to an Xbox Series S. However, since the game is upscaling from an internal resolution lower than 720p, pixel popping and fizzling are definitely problematic. The Callisto Protocol is up next and is one of the most challenging games here to run on the Steam Deck. In terms of graphical fidelity, Mackenzie was able to use a mix of low and medium settings that perform favorably against current and last generation Xbox consoles. However, frame rates proved to be an issue due to CPU bottlenecking issues that saw FPS drop into the low 20s sporadically. Gotham Knights is another title that did not run well on the Steam Deck despite the use of low visual quality settings and FSR2 in performance mode. Gotham Knights was constantly dipping below 30 frames in the open world area. Again, this is probably due to CPU bottlenecking. However, when fighting enemies in interior space, the game picks back up to a perfectly smooth 30 frames per second. Need for Speed Unbound is the only racing title that was tested by Mackenzie. The game ran surprisingly well, hitting a solid 30 frames per second with medium quality settings at a resolution of 720p or 800p and a DRS target of 30 Hz. But hitching is still somewhat problematic in this title, according to Mackenzie, with the game also being CPU bottlenecked in certain areas. On a more positive note, The Witcher 3 Complete Edition shows a different story, with the game holding a solid 30 frames in almost all areas. Graphical settings used were a mix of medium and high settings at native resolution with TAAU enabled. The Witcher 3, the upgraded edition, dude, was a hot mess when it released, though, yeah? Well, I mean, which is to be expected from CDPR anymore, is it not? Like, I'm sorry, dude. There are a lot of CDPR lovers out there, but, dude, they cannot release a game in a good state. It doesn't even matter if it's just like a high def or current gen version of a game that's been out since 2017. I don't care, dude. CDPR they have issues, dude. Uncharted 4 is the final game Mackenzie tested. This game ran the smoothest of all the titles, hitting a solid 30 frames. This shouldn't be too surprising considering the game was originally made in 2016, only being released to PC later last year. Mackenzie used a medium graphical preset for this title in combination with FSR2 upscaler in quality mode to hit this for 30 frames per second target. And again, I was just laughing because The Witcher 3 cracks me up. It apparently played very well on the Steam Deck. As Mackenzie learned, the Steam Deck's hardware is definitely showing its limits in these graphical demanding PC titles. Almost all games tested required the use of a resolution upscaler at an already very low native resolution of 1280 by 800, making image quality borderline playable in some cases. CPU bottlenecking was also problematic in most titles and was the sole reason for some games not hitting a comfortable 30 frames. That said, the Steam Deck is still pulling off a playable gameplay experience where it seemingly shouldn't. The hardware requirements for most of these titles absolutely dwarf what the Steam Deck's hardware actually possesses. Yet somehow the console is still able to run these games with a gameplay experience rivaling last generation consoles. It's hard to tell when the Steam Deck will no longer be able to play the most graphically demanding games the PC platform has to offer, but based on Mackenzie's findings, it could be soon. That doesn't bode well for the company's claim that a next-gen device won't focus on performance upgrades. Oh, I hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard that. Game developers are beginning to switch to next-generation game engines such as UE5, which looks incredible, and dropping last-generation console support in the process. This will undoubtedly make future AAA titles substantially harder to run on the Steam Deck's Zen 2 APU. Interesting. Well, next-gen device won't focus on performance upgrades. That's interesting. I mean, it does a great job, though. Like, as far as mobile devices, mobile consoles, this is like upper echelon right now. This thing does work. And to be fair, there are some really, really hardware intense titles out there. And they ran some of them on this. Did they all perform, without any kind of hitch or, issues? No, but they played well enough, Steam Deck's a pretty amazing little device, no doubt. Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life release date, gameplay trailer, and story. Take a look, see what this is.
An unforgettable tale of friendship, family, and farming.
Pinky, pink sheep, Pinky.
Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life.
Everything just reminds me of Harvest Moon, dude. Any kind of farming simulator game like this, it's all cute. It just gives me Harvest Moon vibes. I played way too much Harvest Moon as a kid.
A fertile land to grow crops and care for animals. A vibrant valley with mystical woodland, ancient ruins, and abundant gifts from nature.
Fishing!
A community of friendly
fishing!
To help you find your feet.
Wait.
Life is about the people you meet, that you fall in love with, that you start a family with.
Is the main character always a dude?
It's full of happy moments, and some sad ones too. Guide your child as they forge their own path. Spend time with family. Grow together.
Maybe trans? Maybe. Capu, dude. Hey, dude, maybe.
Say farewells.
Asexual. Don't need a partner. Have babies on your own. Become a xenomorph.
Make memories that last a lifetime.
Create face huggers.
Welcome back to a beloved farming classic. Story of Seasons.
I don't even know if that's actually how xenomorphs work, but I'm going with it.
Marvelous.
All right. Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life comes out on January 26th. 3 days. Oh. In Japan, I think. And in the summer of 2023 worldwide. Available on Switch, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. However, only the Japanese version of the Switch is available for pre-order. Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life is a farming simulator. If you've played a Harvest Moon game before, ta-da! Then you are in luck, as Story of Seasons and Harvest Moon are basically the same. Players have to manage a farm and earn money from it. They do this by planting and growing crops, raising animals for their milk or wool, or finding other stuff to sell. The player can then use their money to buy seeds or other animals, increasing their income. As with most farming simulators in this vein, the player can woo some of the game's bachelorettes, allowing them to marry some bachelorette. So it sounds like you have to be a dude. Weird. Unlike other Story of Seasons games, however, marriage is a requirement. A Wonderful Life is different from most other Story of Seasons games, and there is a strict storyline to follow. For example, other games like Friends from Mineral Town basically give the player the freedom to do whatever they want. In Wonderful Life, however, the player has a very strict timeline to follow. The player must finish various tasks in each year, the player character growing old with every passing year. From what I remember, this is one of the few, if not the only story of Seasons games where the player's child actually grows to adulthood. There are also other features related to farming, such as creating hybrid seeds, as well as exploring ruins for treasure. This is one of those big issues in games, though, right? Nowadays, especially games like this, is this issue. It does appear that you have to be a dude and you have to marry. A lot of these games that are being built in this fashion of like the farming simulator, relationship kind of games, not that relationship, I'm not talking relationships meaning you have to be in a romantic relationship, but relationships with other like NPCs in the game at all, just friendships and things like that, building relationships within the storyline of characters in the game. A big thing that is coming to the attention of developers is creating the ability for the player to either have a character that they can create whatever gender they would like, or genderless, or whatever, something along those lines, rather than it be a static situation like this is. This is becoming a turnoff to a lot of people. This is the world we live in now. And, this used to be the norm quite often in games, which, that was like stereotypical, right? In video games, we've seen the evolution of stereotypical, like, protagonists and things like that evolve as well. And this is another one of those things that has evolved as it should. People don't always want to play a dude. I create women quite often as my main character. I don't have any issue with that. But a lot of times when people are role playing in a game, they want to play a character that they can, feel some kind of connection to, and it's not always going to be there for people if they have to play a static character. They want to, developers are starting to notice they need to give people options for the creation of a character to be more like the game player. And so this is one of those things that's becoming a rarity nowadays, that they just don't give you that option in this game. That's kind of odd. Well, okay, psych. All right. In my opinion, there's no reason not to just allow people to be able to have customization in the character creation. This is, I think it was more the reason that it's evolving is because we're not as restricted as we used to be in the gaming industry either. Development is not as hard as it used to be in this capacity of giving people options for creating their player from the get-go. It used to be harder to do that in games, right? It wasn't as easy in like old Harvest Moon games or whatever to have character creation and, give people that option or whatever they wanted to be, who they wanted to be, and things like that. But that's not the world we live in anymore. Technology's evolved, development's evolved, it's easier to do, and people want that ability quite often. So, it sounds like, I think that this is just an old style of development here. What was PC to say? Oh no, I'm not saying like necessarily catering to any specific, you know, I'm just saying like all in all giving people options, right? I don't think it's unnecessary. I think that I've always had a propensity to gravitate more towards games that gave me the ability to customize characters. I always have. I remember as a kid, if I was interested in an RPG and I found out that RPG didn't give me at least the option to name characters in the game, I would stray away from it because I didn't like that. So, I mean, this is just kind of that same thing. There are a lot of people that enjoy customization in the games they play with the role-playing aspect of it. They want to be able to have some kind of customizability, and I don't think it's catering to people, dude. It's you know, I'm not that everybody feels that way, but I think to an extent this is just the evolution of gaming. It's not as hard to do this nowadays as it was back then, and to give people the option of playing whatever character they want to play is just, I think, from a developer point of view, this allows them to appeal to a wider range of players. I don't think it's necessarily catering to one specific, demographic or anything like that. That's not what this is about. So I don't think that I necessarily agree with where you're headed with this. And I think it's more about the developer understanding that it doesn't need to be done in a way that people have to have a static character, and they're actually going to be able to appeal to more people. Okay. Whether or not anybody wants to agree with it or not, I do tend to see in the industry that a lot of these types of games are headed in the direction of allowing more customization in the main character of the game being customizable to appeal to the player and being able to allow that player to have more of a, you know, kind of personal kind of appeal to them being able to create that character more in line with who they are and things like that. So whether or not you agree with where the way that should be or not, that is, I've seen a lot of that trending that way in the industry, and this is a bit of a contrast to that. So that's just what I was noting. New Lord of the Rings game announced. This is the last article I have for the day. And if anybody has anything they would like to add to the segment, to the news that maybe I haven't hit on, then let me know, and I'll address it before we move forward to what will be, what, is this day 7, dude? Day 7 of The Forest. Cool. A new Lord of the Rings game is coming out later this year. The Lord of the Rings Adventure of Mount Doom is a new lightweight cooperative tabletop game in which players work together to progress Frodo's journey to Mount Doom. Players use colored dice to determine which figure... Tabletop game. I'll let you read about it. This is not video gaming stuff. Tabletop game. Have at it. Not what I was looking for. Well, I will hit on this real quick. For some free game stuff, okay. Before we end this segment, there are free games. Oh, dude, are they not showing it anymore? It might be gone already. There was a free game yesterday. It's already gone off of GOG, so disregard that. We have, let's get rid of that too. I don't think this one, I thought this one would already be gone, by the way. But there should be a add to your library button here, okay? For anybody that's interested in Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle, they're losing the licensing. Blue Wizard Digital is the publisher and developer of this game. They're losing the licensing to this game because of the Friday the 13th stuff that they are not able to continue. So it's got over 5,400 positive reviews at 93% positive. Excuse me. Over 5,400 reviews that are 93% positive. And you can just add it to your library for free. Okay? So there should be a button right here. I've already added it, but there next to play now, there will be an add to your library. If you add it to your library, it's yours. They can't take it away from you whenever this game is no longer available anymore on any platform. So go grab it. Also, Epistory, free right now. Adios. Cool. Hell is other. Adios and Hell is Others. Welcome to the neighborhood. These will be available in about 3 days. So go ahead and go grab Epistory Typing Chronicles right now for free. All right. Not from me, they won't. They don't have my information, dog. They have your information. That's what I got. That's what I got, peeps. Go. We're going to head over and get into our video gaming content. So we're going to go play The Forest Day 7 with My Name is Pinky. China has all our info. I'm not on TikTok either. That's Wick, dude. Facebook has all the Wix info. China has all the Wix info because of TikTok. You know, not me, baby. Nope. Just the American government has my stuff. I'm just playing, dude. Our information's everywhere. You can't say his name, dude. Psych, what are you doing? You're going to get us banned. At least they know where to find me when the world ends. Yeah, China hacked that. Well, I mean, all countries are always hacking each other if you didn't know that. So, yeah, you're not wrong. That's what, a lot of people don't think about it. But, the actual, people think about war. People think about war as a physical battlefield type of situation still. It's not, dude. War is being handled in cyberspace, man. If you don't know that, think about that. It's a day-to-day war. It's crazy. No, you're not, Wick. See, now you're trolling with the just kidding. So, you guys, thank you for being part of this. You're amazing. Thanks for being part of the news segment. Thanks for being part of this community. You guys are amazing. I appreciate you very much. And we're going to go do some forest gaming, okay? But if anybody's checking out this content and you're enjoying it, then see what you can do about coming and hanging out with myself and the rest of this amazing community whenever we go live at 6 a.m. CST every single day. We start all of our streams off with the video gaming news segments, which can also be found as a VOD on our YouTube channel and as a highlight on our Twitch channel every day after we have already performed them, okay? After we do the news segments, we always jump into whatever gaming content we have lined up for the rest of the day, all right? And we just have a lot of fun here. So come hang out with us, have a good time, and we'll see you tomorrow for January 24th edition of Video Gaming News. And what will probably be day 8 of the Forest. We're getting close to ending this, I think, but English only! Somebody time out my mod. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay healthy, stay safe, be kind. We'll catch everybody tomorrow. All right?